This wasn't in the textbook, but it should have been. Hey everyone, in the previous video we looked at how to solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. Today we are going to look at how to solve x if we are being given a quadratic equation as an inequality. So in today's lesson we are solving a quadratic inequality step by step. So we are given x squared plus 2x is smaller or equal to 0. So the first step is we'll factor it, then we will find the key values and figure out where the inequality holds true. So let's dive in. The first step there is we need to start by factoring out x. So let me rewrite this. So I have x squared plus 2x is smaller or equal to 0. Now let's factor out x. X is factored out, so therefore I'm left with x plus 2 smaller or equal to 0. Now we have a product of two expressions that must be less than or equal to 0. So the next point is we need to actually find the critical points. So let's quickly solve these critical points. So we'll set this equal to 0, so I will have the normal quadratic equation where we have it equal to 0, therefore x is equal to 0, or x is equal to -2. Now, a nice shorthand method to test this, because I have this as a positive quadratic function, I can go and draw a rough sketch of this function. So because I know that this is a quadratic and I see that it is positive, I know that I will have a value which is -2 and 0. They require me to show where this will be smaller or equal to 0. So if I look at my y values will be smaller or equal to 0 at these intervals. So the key thing here is that we want to look at my intervals. So for my x values to be smaller, for my function to be smaller than 0 for these x values, I will need x to be smaller or equal to 0, and x must be greater or equal to -2. Between those two intervals, I am then purely focusing on the interval where my function is smaller than 0. So if I have to put this in a notation that you might be more comfortable with, is that my x will be elements of -2 to 0, and I'm using the square brackets to indicate that these are included. So for this video, we needed to solve the quadratic inequality. Remember that these steps require us to factor the expression, to find these critical points, test where these intervals hold true, and we need to make sure that in our inequality we include the symbol smaller or greater than. And then we always have to write the final answer as an interval, as I have done here. So with these, we need to always remember to write these as an interval. Thanks for watching. Remember, inequalities are all about thinking in ranges. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your math question below. See you next time. Now that you know, pretend it was obvious all along.